Hi, this is John Fischetti, the head of School of Education here at the University of Newcastle. I've been asked to discuss what teaching and learning might evolve toward as we head well past 2020 on for the next 30 or 40 years, as we look at schooling as a function of the overall concept of education in society, particularly in countries like Australia and Canada, the US, Great Britain, and those have been influenced tremendously by the Western industrialization and massification of society that have been mirrored in a lot of what we've done in schooling over the last 100 to 150 years. Many of you have heard me say that schools are places that young people go to watch their teachers work. I think that metaphor has worked for most of us in most of our education, where we were passive, compliant, we learn rules. And most of the tests we took were ones that our adults who gave them to us didn't really like anyway, but they were used to sort and rank and to make decisions on who had a bright future. That paradigm meant that the schooling that we had was where the state or the province or the territory got a list of those things that we were to master somewhere along the line in schooling and teach them to us in an order. The syllabus, the notion of a term called scope and sequence, all meant that we learned things the same regardless whether we as individuals actually learned in the ways in which they were taught. So the syllabus might be A to L, and the school taught it that way. We took A and B, and then C, and then D, and we were convinced that ticking the boxes approach would be workable for all learners. And if you didn't learn the way in which it was taught, that was really on you to make the adjustments necessary. It wasn't on the school or society to make the adjustments. That's the major change we're heading toward, and that is that schools are places young people go to be inspired, to be active, to be passionate, and to develop the skill sets necessary to be successful, which include traditional literacies and numeracies. But in addition to that, extra sets of skills that are around creativity and problem solving, critical thinking, collaboration, open-mindedness, and embedding indigenous perspectives. That component is a very different kind of school than I attended, and probably that you did as well. But you see massive opportunities for that popping up all around Australia and all around the world right now. So in order for schools not to be places that young people go to watch their teachers work, we need a different way forward. And that other way forward is really to design the school around the passions young people bring, the developmental, cognitively, the periods and cycles that we can predict, or when creativity is nurturing itself, and when language is blossoming, and when puberty is occurring, and when adult brains start to form, so that we need to be really actively engaged in learning. So schools, as they have been placing passive, industrial line kind of replicas, many cases looking and acting like mini prison camps, and many students would say that they're intellectually disengaged. Maybe 40% of Australia's kids actually are disengaged at this time, to places that are vibrant learning centers instead of testing centers. So teachers' jobs are to take the passions of students and inspire them, still covering a content list that the state provides, but doing in the order that actually works for the learner. Emerging technologies give us much more potential to do that in ways that are very exciting. And with the advent of virtual reality and artificial intelligence, incredible new ways we haven't really gotten our heads around how even learning is presented and demonstrated, and how we can envision taking those great ideas to the future of what a textbook looks like, what a lesson looks like, what a learning object looks like. So we're on the cusp of a transformation from old school, passive recipients of information, regurgitation on tests, and about 1/3 doing pretty well in that system, to a personalized version of learning that gets young people the chance to discover their passions, go for it, develop other talents, still take on the rest of the curriculum that may not be around those passions, and finish not only well-rounded, but excited, inspired, and passionate that their future can be whatever they think their skill set and mindset allows. That's a different kind of school. And for future videos and projects, we'll talk about the different kind of teacher that's needed for that different kind of school. Thanks very much for listening. Look forward to engaging on those ideas, and hopefully that'll help you in your journey toward thinking about where we're headed very quickly in a new vision for learning and teaching.